What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Del from Inkie Quill, and I'm up with a Grab 5 challenge. So Grab 5 is something I came up with where you grab 5 things from your stash and you have to use them in a layout. If you're new around here, you may not have seen me do one before. So I've decided to go with these word thickers, so just word thickers. That's my general thing. A project life card. You'll see why I've chosen this one in a moment. Some bubble wrap for something a little bit left of center, some very old rub-ons. These are some numbers from Heidi Swap, and my last thing is some paint. I thought it was washi tape, but it's not, it's paint. And some paint. So we're going to see what we can get up to today. I've got a photo that I love of Aaron and Archie just gazing off. We met up for lunch one day and I just captured this picture, and I thought of this project. I thought of this photo as soon as I saw this project life card, so I knew I had to save it for that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Use It Up journal. If you don't follow my second YouTube channel, Let's Get Inky, you may not have seen this before, but it's just one of my art journals, and I kind of use it for excess paint and stenciling and that kind of thing, and then make art journal pages from that. So I'm using it actually as my palette today, and there's a few good things about that. The one good thing is that you don't have to clean up paint. You don't have to clean it off a plastic plate or a palette. Second good thing is that you actually can get a whole art journal background for not much extra work. So I'll show you that in a moment. Before I get to the paint though, I want to put these rub-ons down, and I don't have any need for these numbers anymore. So I decided to kind of use them as a background feature, kind of like a bit of making my own pattern paper. So if you've got old rub-ons in your collection, you don't just have to use them as they're intended, like an embellishment piece. You can just use them as a design feature in the background and cover them up a little bit and have a play with them. And I love how this looks, and those other ones, don't worry, they won't get thrown away. I'm going to slap them on an art journal page very quickly because I don't think they'll keep for very long as well. So now it's time to add my paint, and I'm going to my journal. Am I? Yes, I am. And I decided to do like these big brush strokey stripy bits, and I love, if you haven't noticed from my thumbnails, from my videos, I really love a nice thick brush stroke. It just makes me happy. So I decided to go for these blues because the photo was taken, I think it was taken in winter. Yeah, we're August when I'm scrapbooking. I mean, the week I'm scrapbooking at the moment is August. So yes, it was in winter, and Beans has got a little beanie on his head, and it just, yeah, I thought blue was an appropriate color for it. So I'm just using my excess paint, and I purposely put too much paint out so that I could use it to paint a background piece, and I'm just very messily just spreading the paint across my journal page, and I will use it later on for an art journal page. I do lots of process videos for my art journal and junk journals over on my second channel. If you like a bit of mixed media and a little bit of artiness, if you're a new subscriber, you might not have known that I have a second channel. So now I just dried that with my heat gun. You can be patient and just wait for it, but I'm very impatient when it comes to filming time. Next up, I'm using my bubble wrap kind of like a stamp. So all I'm doing is putting some paint on there very lightly, very lightly, and then just stamping it around just to give a bit of interest to the background, I guess. I can't do my usual, when I use mist, I usually do the water droplet technique, and this kind of mimics it a little bit, but for paint, I guess. So next up, I had to decide what I wanted to do with layering for the photo, and I thought about tissue paper because you've got the brush strokes, although they're, and the light does go in and out a tiny bit here. I'm sorry about that. It's just that the camera has picked up the white of the container and it's caused it to throw off the light balance a bit. But even though the brush strokes are quite light and textury, they're still very heavy. They're very hard and heavy. So I thought by adding the tissue paper, it would give it a little bit of softness and kind of a bit more gentleness, because it is just a little picture of a baby, and so I thought that would help. Now I know people have said it before, I use a lot of adhesive. I'm okay with that. I'd rather have my things stick than watch them fall off in my albums. So you don't have to use as much adhesive as this. I just like to use a lot because the houses that we seem to live in are very wet and moistury, and I have noticed with older albums where I haven't used as much adhesive that things have started to fall off. So might as well be safer than sorry. So now I'm adding some washi tape strips. And like in a recent video, this particular washi tape no longer has the stickiness, so I have to use a glue stick just to help stick it on. I felt like the background just needed a little tiny detail. I really love small little details and sprinkles and that kind of thing, and so with the paint stripes, I kind of thought it was a bit too much blockiness of color, if that makes at all sense. I just needed a little bit of detail. I'm used to layering with lots of papers where the 6x6 paper pads that I use have a lot of like smaller details on them. So I'm just using the washi tape just to do a couple of little random bits of washi, and I'm grabbing my craft foam to put on the back of this picture. A darling subscriber has sent me some adhesive craft foam, but I think it's in a special box which I haven't unpacked yet, which probably also has, what have I lost? My ATG glue. It's probably with that, and what was the other thing that I had lost? Rulers. Don't know where any of my rulers are. They're all gone. So I'm adding some adhesive here, and I'm going to stick that down. Just be careful when you do have mixed media like paint in the background, that you do often have to use a little bit more adhesive, just because it is that gritty surface that the paper's sticking to, and it's not just paper to paper. So the light is all out here, but I left it in because I wanted to show you that I'm trimming off this little Project Life card, and I decided to rip the bottom because it was, again, there was a bit too many harsh straight lines everywhere, and it just needed a little bit of soft texture. Adding some tape down, and I'm going to slip that underneath the corner of this photo, and then get on to my title. Now my title, I knew I wanted to use those curly word thickers, but I didn't quite know which one. I was going to use happy, but they don't look very happy. They kind of look very thoughtful. So I decided to use this dream, and the backing has stuck to some of these thickers. I don't know if I got a dodgy pack, or if maybe in the move they've been in the sun. I'm not sure why, but I decided to do the dream, and then I go back with some smaller thickers and just add dream big my little one, because she is such a little cute little squishy bean. So now I'm just adding some embellishments, and I decided to go for the sprinkles because it needed it. With the numbers in the background, it needed a few little finishing bits and pieces. So I add some puffy hearts. Those little black stars are actually off the thicker sheet for the small alphas there. And that's a good way to tie in your alpha to the page. If you ever have a sheet of stickers that has little asterisks or little dots, or something that you can use in the background as a little sprinkle, you can always pop that on in the background, and it makes your title not look like it's standing out as much. So I'm adding some little stars here that I got off eBay, and I needed something else, so I go for these little, they're like wooden and metal buttons, but they put these big adhesive foam circles on the back of them, which drives me nuts. And so I decided to rip it off and just add a little bit of glue instead. And so that it doesn't look like it's just standing out as much, I add a couple more little enamel dots around it that came on that pack. And I think I'm almost finished. I felt like it was very blue, and so I was intending on having a very blue page, but it was very, very blue. So by adding just a hint of warmth in these wood veneers, it just brings something to the layout. I know it sounds silly, but an embellishment that is as tiny as that, I know it's silly that something so tiny, that's what I'm trying to say, can make such an impact. But honestly, it really can. Just a tiny little hint of something can completely change the way the layout looks. Well, in my eyes anyway. So I'm adding a doodly border because those sprinkles definitely need to be contained so they don't float off the page. And then I think I'm almost done. I do add a little bit of journaling, but not too much because there's not really a lot I wanted to say about this photo. I'm not a huge journaler, as you've noticed. I know there are some scrapbookers out there that focus on the story and telling the story. A lot of scrapbooking for me is about just the creative process and having fun with the creativeness of it, because I know Archie's not going to keep a room's worth of scrapbook albums, which is what I'm going to be, what it's going to be when he's, you know, my age. So far I've been scrapbooking for about 4 years, I think 4 years, and I've almost filled up a 4x4 cube full of albums. So he's going to have a lot of albums. So I'm not in it for the preservation. In fact, I'm more in it for the journey. That sounds so lame. But anyway, it's time for Heidi Shine. Shake, 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 shake. Shake your Heidi Shine. Shake your Heidi Shine. If you're new to my channel, you're probably going to think, oh my goodness, this girl is a little bit different. Long story short about the Heidi Shine, it is called Heidi Swap Colour Shine, but I said it once in a video and it's kind of gone viral, and now we just call it Heidi Shine and we sing when we use it. But this layout's all done. I really love how it turned out. I love the grittiness of the background mixed with those little delicate sprinkles. I think it's a really nice contrast. So thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really does help my little channel, and it just helps support my little family as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I post 2 videos a week over here, and I also have a Patreon. Details are in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Bye!